Howdy, Outcasts! Hope you've been enjoying the show. As Season 2 creeps to a close, we are launching a fundraising campaign for our third and final season. For a trio to reach the end of their quest, we're hoping to raise $5,000. Visit igg.me/at/Radio Outcast Season 3 to check out our goals, rewards, and a video detailing our vision for the final season.
Your contributions help fund the show's production. This includes high-quality sound design, excellent performances, and help behind the scenes. Backers will receive exclusive rewards such as phone wallpapers, custom merchandise, or even the first pages of Season 3 before airing.
We have several exciting stretch goals. If we reach that $5,000 goal, we will release a book containing extra story content and a peek behind the curtain for our top donors. If we raise $6,000, we will produce bonus episodes as voted on by fans.
On the weekend of each remaining episode's release, we will be streaming on Twitch to promote this very fundraiser. Follow us on social media for updates on the fundraiser and on Season 2 and 3.
Season 2 was only possible thanks to the contributions made on Indiegogo and Patreon. Your support is the reason Radio Outcast continues to exist, a responsibility we do not take lightly. Visit igg.me/at/Radio Outcast Season 3 today. The 3 is a number 3, not spelled out. Everything else is spelled out. Get ready for an unforgettable ending and for even more strange fun in the West.
Radio Outcast is a haunting, gunslinging podcast for mature audiences. Content warning. This episode contains depictions of coughing that could trigger misophonia at the start and end of the episode, as well as depictions of terminal illness, gun violence, and character death throughout the episode, which may be upsetting for some listeners. We encourage our listeners to prioritize their safety before venturing ahead. Thank you.
I remember there was this one time that a young black colt got loose. Me and my pa went after it. Rode nearly a full day before we found it. Back then, tracking a creature was new to me, so I remember being all sorts of confused while we scoured through the land that night. Kept looking at Pa, wondering if he'd give up, and knowing he wouldn't. Couldn't afford to return without it. We'd been just about to turn west when we heard this sound. A bird. Must have been an owl that late, shrieking so loud I could feel the sound in the back of my teeth. Next thing I know, Pa's pulled out his gun. I ask him what's wrong. He shushes me. And then takes off the way we heard that bird. Turns out we were right on top of the colt all along. He'd fallen into a hole in the ground, Got off my horse to get the rope off my saddle when Pa gave a cry all of a sudden. A rattler shot up at me, but Pa shot it just in time. When I asked him, after we got the colt out of the hole, how he knew to pull out his gun, he taught me about the death bird. He told me it's this thing, as dark as night, with a cry that can strike terror in even the heart of a man made of stone. He told me to always listen to that cry. It's a warning of death around the corner. And when death is kind enough to offer us a warning, it's best to listen. Should have listened closer when that day started. Maybe I would have noticed it sooner.
Propose. No. I didn't finish that word. I remember Jesse already. I suppose. Suppose. Suppose.
Verbose.
Brown nose.
Does that count as 2 syllables? Is it not 2 words?
Barefoot's towing the line, I'd say. It's a compound word.
This is vile favoritism.
Hey, I want her to lose too.
Oh, that is vile favoritism. You two 1887 locals are singling me out because I've got a century on you.
No, it's 'cause you're the worst sport whenever you win. Your turn, Osgood. Make it a good one. You got this.
Oh, but what? But the rhythm of the game has already been compromised. Should we not carry on with a new word? What does the Crabbo rulebook say?
I told you it's called Crambo.
Crambo.
But fine. How about we try with 2 words now? Only the second one has to rhyme, but the phrase should make sense.
2 words?
Easy.
Hold on.
Their coffee's getting worried. Drink some water.
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. 2 words. Best wishes.
Less switches.
Wishes, dishes. Wet dishes.
Smooth. Tall witches.
Green pitches.
This is ridiculous. How am I supposed to compete with you 2? You each carry loaded dice when it comes to rhyming. I mean, Jesse spends every evening writing words down, and he invented the game. And Helix, you invented music.
Didn't invent the game. My pa and his friends taught me.
Technically, I did invent music, but I had nothing to do with the whole rhyming thing. I just like that it happened. And aren't you Mr. Gift of Gab? Where's the Gab? Is that the Gab?
Hey, Osgood. Quick question. You sure that map is right?
Our best leads have been rumors, guesses, and the vague circle clue we found. All things considered, yes, I think I've made a fairly good map.
Makes no damn sense. Shouldn't we be headed east?
We haven't heard any clue about the next tower's location, and we're all exhausted after that experience in Nebraska. With my cartography background, I am our best shot, and I believe that we need to turn west.
Maybe experience don't mean squat if we ain't actually moving in a circle. I know these lands. We're near the Queen of Kansas cow towns. Got friends and family there that might have heard something.
Rogers, if I am meant to be our designated guide throughout this journey, then I ask you to trust me. Unless you simply wish to visit Abigail for personal reasons.
Aw, that's so sweet. Jesse's homesick. Man, I wonder what your friends are like. Do they all have codes, too?
What? No. And that's not it. Charles is wrong. Twice over. It's Abilene to start, not Abilene. And west is a parentheses. East is a circle.
I am not wrong, right? Helix, perhaps about pronouncing a word I've only ever read on the page, but
we
about
were
directions,
having fun. and now you guys are being testy. Sort it out. Without sticking me in the middle, I'm gonna go take a water break.
I was not being testy. My skill was in question.
Oh, hush up. Look, just hand over your map, then I'll tell you where we might find this thing if we really are going west.
Compromise. See? Good job, guys.
Fine. But no matter what you find, I stand by what I said. The tower is likely west, not east.
How about you quit yapping and drink water? Now, where is it?
My bag under no Kaya.
No Kia.
Charles and Helix took their canteens and sat together under the shade of a tree. Maybe I was a bit homesick. Maybe we all are. To top it all off, my head's been aching like something's been trying to squeeze its way out of my eye sockets for days. Still, I really was starting to think I could trust these two. And maybe that's my fault. The ice-cold dread that spread across my body when I pulled out that map. I've known Charles as a charlatan at best for a long time now. I know that. He lies. He lies well. But I thought those lies had more to do with him than us. So as I lifted the device he'd taken to carrying lately and opened the leather envelope carrying 2 maps, I didn't see it coming when the first map I unfurled bore Sam Vogel's gang's mark. How'd you get this?
Jesse, it's not what you think.
Yeah? What am I thinking, Try not to get lost on the way, boys. Greatest secrets are hidden in plain sight. See you soon, Sam Vogel. Why the fuck do you got a map to those bastards' hideout?
I promise you, it wasn't given to me. I found it.
What? No, are you sure? Let me see that.
When?
Jesse, please, can we just be civil about this, please?
I said, when?
When they took me. I realized who they were to you, and I thought... I planned on giving it to you, I swear. My intention was never to keep this hidden for the entirety of our journey.
You fucking rat!
Whoa, hey, stop!
Helix ran between us, right where my gun was pointing.
Slow down, Quick Draw.
You're cracking jokes? Right now? Get out of my way, Helix.
Not until you calm down.
God damn it, move!
Put the gun down.
He lied to us. He kept the thing I've been looking for from me, knowing full well it's the one thing I'm alive in this world to do. You think he gives a shit about us?
Yeah, I do. We wouldn't have gotten this far without him. He just saved my ass in Nebraska. We never would have found the tower in Salt Lake City or in the desert, or really most of them. After all this time, after everything we've been through, we all give a shit on some level about each other, right? So I'm not gonna let you hurt him. If you just slow down for a second, Jesse, you'd realize you'd regret shooting him too.
Helix, he's right to be upset. I'm sorry. Truly, but I can't explain. I can't.
Don't want to hear another word from you. Either you're working for him or you're a fucking snake. Don't matter. You fucked with the one thing, Charles, the one thing you knew you shouldn't with me. If he's lying to me, he's lying to you too.
Jesse, just...
No. I've had your back all this time.
I know. Okay, I know, but right now you're the one pointing the gun. He's obnoxious, yes, but he's not. Charles isn't. We won't know what he was actually thinking when he hit that map, or the full story of how we got it if you kill him. Please.
I'm out.
You can't. No, what do you mean?
Don't touch me. Means what I said. I'm out. I'm out. Walked over the quarter. My head was starting to burn I could feel the pain behind my eyes. For a moment, Quarter looked as large as an elk, till I touched her shoulder.
Jesse, please allow me to explain. I was... God damn it! Please, Roger, just give me a minute.
Hey! You can't go! Jesse! Jesse, please! Don't go!
No, I'm telling you
Charles. Seriously, if you're lying... God. What's wrong? Your face. Charles!
You're supposed to. It's like you really are so totally useless. Specs should have known Helix would be out of your league.
Funny how little ones gotta think when they're on a path they've traveled most of their life. But when I saw the rails and the town on the horizon, it all looked larger than ever. Am I just plumb, or are you seeing that too, Quarter? From far away, looked like Abigail had grown buildings taller than even the towers since I'd been gone. Tall enough to touch the sky. Thought my tired mind was playing tricks. That ache behind my eyes was still there. But soon as I got closer, it all looked the same as usual. Home, just as I left it. We kept on and came upon a rusty sign blocking the path into town. We're not going back. Helix made her choice. See that big old plume, girl? It's the metal devil itself. Train station is why all the cowboy work leaked out of Abigail. Tugged on Quarter's reins to go around through a back street past the train, and soon after, familiar faces were glancing my way. Usually, keep my eyes forward and mind my own, but I was still fuming. And I'm different now. It's been months since I've been able to die. No one could do nothing to me for being true. So when they looked, I looked right back at them. That's Ern's hardware store. The rat still owes me and Bill for fetching his goods from Texas last year before the blizzard hit. Nearly frozen place trying to help Mr. Smythe with his horses when his stables caved during the storm. I was in bed for days. Neither he, nor Dylan, nor anyone ever said a word to Ern when they heard what he did. Folks here love calling themselves upstanding, but then steal from us so-called criminal cowboys. Ern was watching me from inside. Thought about stomping in and demanding he finally made it right. Thought about it some more, but immortal or not, going in and demanding old money just then wouldn't serve me much good. What I needed was to see my mom. Rode past the store, the bank, couple of ramshackle houses, and finally arrived outside my own doors. All right, let's set you a nice place to rest. How's that sound? Empty. That's good. Means Ma sold our last horse, like I asked. Place was clean, a bit dusty, but loved like ever. Showed quarter into a spot where there was still plenty of hay. Could have been left over, but knowing Ma, she'd keep it thinking that whenever I came back, I'd probably have a horse again. See? We've got our own space, food at the ready, and look, got some farrier tools here, so I'll finally be able to trim and replace those old shoes of yours. Pretty nice, huh? Took the crumpled map I'd nabbed just before I rode away and folded it into my diary before taking my bag along with the rest of my saddle off quarters back. No, it ain't what you're used to, but oh, this could be a good home for you, too. My meeting them, both of us meeting them, was chance. But we've got things to do. Our fates are tied to that gang, not... Plus, you'll like my ma, I promise. A stray breeze swept into the stable, brought a chill to the back of my neck. Tried to rub the feeling away, but it lingered. Eat your fill. Be back in a few to introduce you. Ma. Found my mind easing soon as I stepped inside. Set my head on an old rack by the door and set my bags aside. Crossed through the living room into the kitchen. It was strange being back here after so many months. Last I saw this kitchen, it was a whole lot larger on a stage on the Missouri River. That damn alderman. Still don't know how my kitchen wound up on the stage. Suppose stranger things happened that day. Looked like Ma had been in the middle of running a meal. A pot of water sat on the cold stove. Ma? You home? Saw her around the corner sitting at the end of her bed through a cracked door. There you are. Ma, didn't you hear me? The room was empty. Just a curtain casting a weird shadow as it moved from the open window. Though I could have sworn.
This child. What are you hollering in my house for?
I wouldn't be making a racket if you'd answer. Turned around and there she was. Abigail Rogers, dressed in her sleeping clothes. She raised an eyebrow at me, shook her head, walked past me and into the room, and then stared out the window.
Getting cold in here, isn't it?
Helps if the window's closed.
Wasn't me who opened it. Bill came by.
Bill had a habit of watching over us like he were family, especially since Pa passed. She didn't look well. Even with my eyes hurting, I could see she weren't all together. She seemed tired. Sweat making her whole face glisten in an eerie way. You feeling all right? Let me check your forehead.
I'm fine. Comes home and starts screaming and looking at his ma like she's some sort of horse in need of caring. No hellos, no explanation about where he's gone, nothing.
Oh, come on, Ma. I'm sorry. All right? Hi.
Hello.
Tell you everything you want over lunch. How's that?
You cooking for me?
Of course. Go on, eat. Promise, my cooking's gotten better. She smiled at me, then stared at her plate. she was definitely sick. Her hand shook when she picked up her fork. Only seen her shake like that a few times. Bulk of them was when she came down with something. Thought the fork was gonna fall right through her hand. Seemed to take all her strength to move it from her plate to her lips. And when she did, even she seemed surprised by the accomplishment. The sweetest smile hugged her face. Good?
Better than every meal I've had all month.
What'd I tell you?
Still don't change the worry you left me with since you ran.
Promise you I'd be back when I left.
Yeah, and you promised to get me every book to have ever been written since I taught you words too. I'm your mother. Means I don't need you to promise me any gift, even if that gift is you. Also means I get to worry. So I met an old traveler and told him about you not long ago. Said I needn't worry.
Well, he ain't my parent, so I trust your judgment first.
Would you now? First a meal and now he's being mighty agreeable. Either this day is blessed or you finally learn.
Well, maybe it's both. Who was this old fella anyway?
Told you, just some traveler. He passed by the house some time ago, told me a bit about his travels. Said he was headed to our sister city in Texas. Anyhow, I wound up telling him about my son, my reckless and fearsome child who up and left home, find dangerous men despite my begging.
Ma.
I was crazy enough to let you run off. Think the least you owe me is the ability to speak freely? That old fella told me you'd be home, safe and whole soon enough. And here you are.
Sounds like the old fella had a gift of prophecy. Didn't know I'd be here till this morning myself, to be honest. You say who he was? Or why he was so sure?
He did. Made a very compelling case, in fact.
Yeah?
You gonna tell me where you've been?
Yeah. Okay. I try not to think about it much these days. How we were after we found out Pa was killed by rustlers. But here we were now, sitting together after being apart for months, talking about him dying without actually talking about it. Remember when we found out, she was sat with me on the floor of this very kitchen while I cried. My voice was so raw I wasn't talking for a week. Got mad at her for not crying with me, for being so unshakable while I'd never felt worse in my whole life. Was too tired to go to my room after, so she set up a few blankets and a pillow for me to sleep on by the fire. Then she went to her room. She must have thought I'd fallen asleep, but I heard her. Can still hear her now. Those muffled sobs shook the house. Next day, she told me to talk to the pastor while she found a second job. She'd take care of the Smythe children during the day, then come home and sew dresses at night. Abigail Rogers, now a widow. The hurt I rarely saw in her eyes, I saw in her hands and knees. No matter how tired she got, she kept on for us.
New Mexico. How was it?
Unhelpful. Wound up being strange and troublesome.
Much of the world is. But you didn't come home after.
Yeah, well, that was the trouble. Missed my shot to get a clue on where to go next, all because of this woman I met.
Ooh, a woman?
And a man, too. We all met at a mayor's party.
You found trouble at a mayor's party?
Told her most of everything. Kept the dangerous and weird parts to myself, like my time on the stage, Lincoln, Nebraska, All the times I'd been shot and not killed. Helix being a god. Mostly I didn't want her to fret. It's one thing to go after a gang on my own. Another to help a goddess retrieve her powers while several other powerful gods are against her and her friends.
You and this Charles snuck in dressed as minors?
That was the plan, but no. Helix found the way in when she wandered off to a show, which wound up being a secret Mormon meetup. Still not sure about that. It was always one thing then another with those two. Couldn't keep half of it straight.
Sounds lively. That's good. You need people like that.
Kept talking for ages. Did consider telling her about the immortality. Could give her some peace of mind. My own deaths never bothered me. Last death that probably did that was Pa's. Part of being alive is dying. That's always true. Even in a chaotic world, living things die. The end may come difficult, or cruel, or peaceful, but it'll come. There are right and wrong things. Meeting Helix and Charles can't shake universal truths forever. Then, out of nowhere, felt lightning behind my eyes. Too bright, like electricity was shining everywhere, like I was somewhere else. And Mom, she was sitting in front of me 1 second, then I could see right through her, and then she was gone. Squeezed my eyes shut, blinked over and over till things were back in place, but I felt the chill from the stable return. Sorry, Ma. My head's splitting. We got any tea?
Same cabinet as always.
You catching cold? I'll make enough for the both of us.
I'll never say no to anything you make me, baby. Go on.
Like I was saying, don't care what excuse he come up with. Knew he'd been a liar the moment we met. Osgood ain't even his name. It's Cannon. But this? Nah. So I took the map and left them both on the road. Rather be home than get blindsided again. What?
Thought the story would end differently.
Don't worry. I'm still going after Vogel and his. Was a bit sidetracked is all, but now I can focus on what matters.
Lord on high, what matters, he says.
Thought we were past this.
Past getting yourself killed over nothing.
What, Pa ain't nothing now?
A rumor ain't nothing, child. Specifically not one that'll send you to the grave. I want so much for you.
Death don't scare me, Mom.
No, but surprises do. You think your pa's happy you're looking to get yourself killed. No, baby, no. If I wasn't able to teach you the lesson myself, sure as heaven he taught you to ever pull a trigger with an angry heart before he left us.
Pa didn't leave. He was stolen from us.
Life is unkind and unwieldy. Can't control its course. Just how we react. Think killing those men will bring him back.
It ain't about that. Ma. Oh, see? I knew you weren't well. Her skin looked at once as dull as ash, and like she'd walked out into the light rain. I went to her side, but she raised a hand to stop me, coughing into a shawl across her shoulders. My headache got worse the more I watched her. And the more I watched her, the less she seemed to be there. Like looking at something with your eyes crossed. Like there were two of her in the room. My ma, and a gray, nearly see-through imprint of her. The water boiled over onto the stove, dripping down toward the burning coals below the kettle. Here. Again, she struggled to lift up the cup to her lips and sip slowly. Didn't feel right to break the quiet, so I waited.
I want you to be happy more than anything, and I bet before this morning you were.
How am I meant to trust them? They know what this meant to me.
Is the story of your life really about vengeance?
Maybe it's about death.
All good life is filled with death, child. Means you have the blessing to live in love. But life and death aren't tameable.
You're making this about something else. They're bad men, Ma.
Who will see their maker someday. By your hand or someone else's. Doesn't change my point. If it's a perfectly written life you're pursuing, this hunt of yours won't change a thing. You don't need to make the world right to grieve. You know, before you left, I thought about tying you to the beams of this house. You were 15 when I realized you'd been saving some of your money for bullets. Never caught you practicing, but it must have been a lot to get as good as you are. Where'd you go?
An old trail Pa used to take me. South, near the river.
Always wondered. 84 was when you took up those odd jobs, right?
Yes.
See that? That was when I realized there was no stopping you. Boy's father dying in the middle of nowhere over cattle of all things. Chalked up all the shooting practice as just your way to keep yourself safe. But then Della thanked me at church after you tracked down her stolen goat, and I knew you never left the kitchen floor after your pa passed. She thought you were looking to protect the community, which was sweet of her. You're a good man. One I'm proud of, with the code or without. Even from what you've told me about the time with those two strangers, I know you've helped many. But I also know it's all been shooting practice for you. One more good deed, one more reckoning. All to prepare for the big one. I hope the future I see for you won't be the one you get. But if you manage your goal, you kill those monsters and leave that cave alive, I worry you'll open your eyes and see nothing but the kitchen floor. That's all I mean. How's that headache?
She'd gone completely gray now. Could see the back of the chair through her torso. Her cup was still full. I don't know what I was thinking, but I stretched my hand out to her on the table and turned my palm up to the heavens. She smiled at me and I could hear the sigh in it that she didn't breathe. The fond and frustrated child she loved to call me. She raised her hand and held her fingertips against mine. But I didn't feel nothing. I'm sorry.
Shh. It's all right, baby. No need for none of that.
When?
Not long. A few weeks, I reckon. No more than a month.
Yeah.
My lungs, I think, fell sick and couldn't stop coughing, but you know me, kept working till I couldn't. Then one day I couldn't leave my bed without losing my breath. The air left me with each cough, then phlegm, then blood. Before I knew it wasn't much left. Bill found me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have came back soon as New Mexico was dead end. I should have left them long ago. I should have.
No, stop that. Jesse, I love you. I didn't stay here for an apology.
But Ma...
Just wanted one more moment with my son.
Ma, I left you all alone.
No, I wasn't. Had Bill, Adela, the church, and remember that traveler I met. He was kind to me too. Waited with me till Bill showed up. The traveler kept me company. Told me you were safe. Safer than most people. Blessed by the gods, impossible to harm. All I wanted was to say bye to you. And he said he let me. Said he felt he owed us both a gift and that this would be my gift. Seeing you.
The room became brighter. I began to see light bulbs in the ceiling where there had never been any before. Ma, I don't want you to go. Ma, I'm not ready, Ma.
Whenever you pick up a pen, I'll be with you in the words I taught you. When you laugh till your face is sore and your belly goes firm, you'll find my thumb at the corner of your lips, holding that grin in place a moment longer. So long as there is love in the world, you will never lose me. You understand me?
Yes, Ma.
I love you.
I love you too. Suddenly she looked over her shoulder, smiled like I hadn't seen in a long time. I knew who it was for. The room grew brighter and brighter until I just could barely see.
There you are.
The house was different. Same rickety door, but the walls had changed. Brick stacks stretched high. Houses stacked on houses. I ran to the stables to quarter. Hey! Hey, girl. Sorry. Don't be afraid. I'm alright. It's alright, I just... Fuck. I can't stay here, but Lord, she probably hates me too, huh? Knew where I needed to be, and this wasn't it. This wasn't home. Even if Helix manages to put everything back the way it was, don't know that I'll know where home will be after. What am I thinking? I still can't trust him, even if I want to go back. I shouldn't. I know. I want to, but all I can think of is that I'm fucking mad. I want to see them, even though I just want to see them. Just one more time. Just till I know why. Grabbed some air tights, my tools, and then we were burning the breeze. The buildings I thought I saw when I first rode in came into being all around me, high as towers, some higher still. The ground became hard and loud as I steered quarter through the crowds and corners and mechanical carriages. Yeah, come on, girl. We gotta go back. The sky was orange as I kept riding. Could only make out the outlines of things as I rode towards the sun in the west. West to the unknown. West to them. Soon, I saw a horse with 2 figures on his back and a bird fluttering by. Helix! Good. I thought I'd almost lost you. Look, I'm so...
I don't care.
No, I shouldn't have run off like that. You didn't do nothing.
Shut up, Jesse.
And then I finally looked at Charles. He was clutching onto Helix's shoulder like a dead pill. Face pale, lips turned blue. Helix's hair had fallen and tangled around her face, the trail of tears on her cheekbones still glistening. They'd left Charles' horse behind. And Charles, who I so wished to kill hours before, who I've distrusted since we met, who could still be hiding darker secrets. Terror turned my bones to stone. The death bird's cry urged me forward, its warning clear.
Radio Outcast was created by Maria Fernanda Vidaurrazaga and JT Lachese, starring Ivory Amor de Francisca as Jesse Rogers, Daniel A. Stevens as Charles Osgood, Jade Duong as Helix, and Brandi Robinson as Abigail Rogers and Emmy. This episode was written by Fernanda, directed by Fernanda, with support from our assistant director Sebastian Sotelo. Produced by Eloise Bernier and Kevin Xie. Dialogue editing by Miles Crenwelge, sound design by Ry Dorsey, with music by Samuel Kinsella. Do you love what you hear? Your reviews on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and Good Pods keep driving us forward and help us reach even more ears. Don't know what to say? Well then, rate the show wherever you're listening to spread the love. Want more Radio Outcast? You can dive deeper by visiting radiooutcast.com and join the community on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and our Discord server. All links in the show notes. You can now snag yourself exclusive stickers and the full Season 1 score from our shop as well. If you'd like to help us continue to grow and would like a backstage pass into the creation of Radio Outcast, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/radio_outcast. Unlock behind-the-scenes secrets, original scripts, bonus content, and more, like wanted posters of the Sam Vogel Gang or tickets to the Starlight Leisure and its one-of-a-kind show featuring the Alderman. For as little as $1 a month, you can join the Coda tier and get a special shout-out at the end of each episode, like Alan L., who has been a lovely patron at Abilene's infamous Alamo Saloon, Miss Talia W., who has always been a fan of Abilene's dance halls, friend of the old owner of the Bull's Head Saloon, Patricia D., the delightful dessert designer, Lizbeth S., never one to walk past a poker table, Val V., Susan S., who has been written about once or twice in the Junction City Union newspaper, the ever-clever and always fearless Lila, who once went toe-to-toe in an arm wrestling contest with Wild Bill before he ended his tenure in Abilene. Chelsea S., whose curiosity has led her to see a man and his strange bird one quiet night. Bunny Hop, the talented entertainer who has performed in Abilene Square before. And, of course, Paul R., who has crossed through Abilene to the Schism Trail. To all of our patrons, thanks again. Your support means the world. And to everyone listening, safe travels.